All right, guys, so we're going absolute basics here. So I have 2 needles. I don't know if you guys can see those. Let's see if you're able to see these 2 needles. And they're different sizes, different thicknesses, and different lengths. And because we're making face masks that hopefully will be able to protect us and our loved ones, I'm going to go with the smallest needle so that it has the smallest hole in the fabric. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but I do wear trifocals. So this little thing here has a little tiny wire at the end. And this little tiny wire, if you can stick it inside the eye of the needle, which is sometimes a trick all by itself. If it goes through the eye of the needle, can you see that? That way you can thread. Now I'm just going to do not quite enough thread for the whole thing because I will do several. But to thread this, you're going to put, instead of threading it through the eye of the needle, which is so hard for me to see these days, I'm threading it through the threader. I'm holding on to the pin and I'm pulling it through. Oh no, I missed it. Bear with me, guys. Get through. Okay. All right. So instead of fighting with the eye of the needle, I'm going to fight with this other larger eye thing. And if I'm able to put it through, I'm just taking a little bit and I'm holding the needle and I'm pulling through this, and it will pull the thread through the needle there for me. Okay. Then I'm going down, because I want it to be strong, I'm using the double layer of the thread. So I'm matching up the ends as close as possible. And then I'm tying. I've seen some tricks on YouTube, and you guys keep in mind that I've had to learn how to sew to be able to do the sewing circle and stuff. So I'm still new, but I've seen some ways where they can just roll it and then all of a sudden it's done, but I go around my finger and I do this twice and it creates this little knot there. Now I'm going to clip off the excess. I've pulled it tight, and can you see there's this little knot there? All right. Now, if I had a pattern, if this was Scooby-Doo or whatever, if this was some kind of pattern on this fabric, then I would take the pretty sides, the pattern sides with all the colors, and put that on the inside. And then I'd be sewing it kind of inside out, so you would only see the outside portions. But we're lining up the outside edges. Since this one is the same color on both sides, it doesn't matter. But we're taking the outside edges, making sure that those are lined up completely. And we're taking the stick pens. We're just gonna go a knot here. We're gonna try to hold that edge together because we're gonna be sewing this by hand. And by hand takes quite a bit more time than the sewing machine, but I know that a lot of you don't have the sewing machine, so we were going to do this basic so everyone would be able to do it, and that's what we're doing. So I'm going in and then back out, and I'm just holding the fabric to where it won't move whenever I'm sewing on that seam allowance. So this is going to be so we have pins holding there. So I'm going to sew not all of the seam lines, just this one on this curved side here. I'm going to sew. So I'm going to do, they call it a lock stitch, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew a fair amount here. That way if there's any strain whenever this is done, if there's any strain with the fabric opens, then it won't pull it apart. So do several stitches there and kind of loop around, and then going to go through here. Now the basic stitch that we're doing, top stitch or inline stitch, I had to learn how to do this, guys, and if I'm wrong, absolutely correct me. But from my understanding of it, and we're going to start here on this outside edge, and move my tomato out the way. Okay, so I've gone in this way and out this way, and I'm going back in here close to that, and I'm going to pull it most of the way through here, and be careful to not get it rat nested, which is sometimes easier said than done. But pull it through most of the way, and then when you're back through on this side, you're actually going to put it through the loop. If I can see it. Put it through the loop there, and then that forms that lock stitch there. It's a little rat nested. Do better than me, guys, do better than me. So we're going to follow this down. And you want your stitches on this, because it is for a face mask and it is for protection, you want it to be as close to the other as possible. And again, if it's not exactly on the seam line, that's okay. But we're going to go in from one side, and then very close to that, go back out through the other side. I'm just grabbing on all kinds of things, my stapler and all. In from one side, then back out the other side. And we're going to do this the whole way down, the entire length of this. And as you go, and this pins aren't needed anymore, you can pull those out. But you see, trying to make my camera focus. Those stitches there. We're going to do that the whole way down. Okay. So if we do that the whole way down, and then when you get to this other end, you're going to also tack stitch it there, and then we'll knot it. So I'll come back whenever that is done.